Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nana Actresses here once again. So it's very late right now and I decided to come on here and then have this chat with you guys. This is going to be a very intimate chat with you. It's really late right now, so you're wondering why am I dressed and wearing shades indoors when it's late? Because I felt like it. Okay, so before we even get into the video, if you're new here, you never met me before, hi, hello, I'm Nanaya of Nanaya Actresses. I really do hope you stick around and see what we have going on here. We're a very lovely family here. We like to connect and talk about everything in the space of beauty, lifestyle, and self-development. And today's going to be more like, a digital diary entry, but also a bit of a girl chat. So it's going to be very, very, one-on-one, very, very personal. Let me come closer and look into your eyes. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If you have already, thank you for joining me once again. Now let's get into today's video. So like the title suggested, today's video is going to be about feeling hard, feeling fast, and feeling very painfully. So let me snitch on myself for a little bit. I have been going through a lot of things lately. I'm not even gonna front. In my recent video, I did an update on what I've been up to and why I wasn't posting videos often. And I mentioned that I was going through a couple of personal struggles. Well, struggles don't pause. They don't know how to take a vacation. Okay, sometimes they come fully reloaded with their twins and their twin brothers, and they're looking at you like, so what's up? But on a more serious note, I wanted to come in here and be as vulnerable as possible. So let's talk about feeling hard, feeling forward, feeling fast, everything that has to do with feeling. So I have wanted to do a couple of things in my personal life, in my professional life, even on YouTube. I have wanted to try certain things, but I always was out in the end, and I always took myself out of it because of the fear that I'm going to feel that it's not going to do very well. You guys are not going to like it. You guys are going to be like, what does she think she's doing? And it has prevented me a lot from taking certain risks. And you have to understand that it's coming from a certain place. Okay, we don't just get up one day decide that we are afraid to fail. It comes from a place of the pain and then the humiliation that you feel when you fail, and you tell yourself that you don't want to ever be there again. To be honest with you, today, okay, I spent 2 straight days indoors. So I was indoors the whole of yesterday and then today. And today I was bawling my eyes out. I was crying the whole day because I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression. So some days are worse than other days, and some days I go into crisis mode and I feel like nothing I'm doing can get me out of that place. And there are other days too, and like there's this impending sense of doom when I'm happy, and I'm battling with myself that should I enjoy myself? Like, should I allow myself to be happy right now and deal with the pain later, or should I just let the pain, get at me now and then get it out of the way? Sadly, now sometimes when I let the pain take over and I let the sorrow take over, I don't get a happy moment afterward. So I have been dealing with that thing where when I'm even happy, I feel like I'm too happy right now. When is the terrible part gonna start? Like, unfortunately, that is where I'm at right now. It's not a great place to be, but it's something that I'm dealing with, and it's something that hopefully is gonna eventually get better. And I'm learning better coping mechanisms and learning to ground myself and be present. Okay, so for example, like I told you, I've been crying the whole day, all day today. I stopped crying around 7 p.m. That's when I stopped crying. Can you imagine spending the whole day in bed, not feeling like doing anything, not feeling like eating, just crying? And initially when it's happening like that, I don't know what is triggering the sorrow, but then eventually my mind is like, oh, you're sad, but you don't know why you're sad. Hold on, let's give you a couple of things to pick from. And then it brings up a lot of things that I'm anxious about and I am uncertain about and I'm upset about and I'm sad about. All of a sudden it's like, and I begin to topple under the pain of what is happening around me. It's not a great place to be in. But then going through that dark period, okay, I ended up watching. That's also why my eyes are swollen, by the way. But that's not why you're here. I ended up watching a couple of videos on failure because I realized that the most resounding theme in all the things I was crying about was about failing. Okay, I'm afraid to fail in my social life. I'm afraid to fail in my professional life, also at work. I'm afraid to fail in my relationships with others, so my relationship with my parents and my siblings and my friends. How I'm not like I'm not explaining it. As somebody who's an extrovert, everybody expects me to be able to have friends, keep friends for a long time, but making friends is not something I'm very good at. I don't know how to explain it. I'm always worried that I would show people that I like them too much and then they'll be like, oh, it's too much, you're too clingy. Or I feel like when I decide to just back off a bit and give them space, they think I'm just being cold towards them. So it was always difficult to gauge how to have my emotions around people. So it affects my relationships a lot because sometimes, and it also doesn't help that again, I deal with a lot of anxiety and depression, so I have moments when I don't want to be around anybody, and that includes family. Like, my children won't be around anyone. I don't want to talk to anybody. I become very antisocial. I push everybody away. If you call me, I wouldn't pick up. I would literally keep you at arm's length. And when you're trying to have friendships, and especially when they are new friendships, you can't just go like, hey, I have depression, so I have days when I'm not gonna want to talk to you. And it's a very selfish thing to do. Like, just because you're having a bad day, you're gonna rain on everybody's parade. Like, that's not fair. So sometimes I'm forced to, keep up appearances and act like I'm happy when I'm not, so that I can be there for my friends. I have been there for my friends when they needed me, when I was having a terrible day, when I was falling apart. And because of that, most of the time they don't know. Like, I quite remember when I did my Vlogmas episode back in December. One of the episodes I shared a vulnerable moment with you guys where I was actually crying. I still hate the fact that I did that, by the way. But then one of my friends was like, Nana, you're going through this. Why didn't you talk to me? Like, you could have spoken to me. Why didn't you talk to me? And the fact that I had to find out with everybody else. And I'm like, it's because it's harder to be vulnerable. It's hard for me to be vulnerable with people. So whenever I do these videos, okay, most of the time when I'm doing this, I'm talking to myself. So it doesn't feel like I'm exposing myself. And so after I post it and then I see people commenting, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have put this out there on the internet. That's gonna live forever. This is a terrible idea. And then sometimes I'm like, this could be beneficial to somebody to know that they're not alone and whatever they're going through, and that it happens to even the best of us. So yeah. Anyway, I went on an entire tangent there, didn't I? Speaking of failing, like I said, throughout my breakdown today, the recurring theme was about failing, and more importantly, the fear of failing. So I asked myself, why am I so afraid to fail? And most of the answers I got were not because of the impact it was going to have on me per se, but rather on how it's going to affect everybody else around me. So I am a firstborn, so automatically I am expected to be a role model for my younger siblings, okay? And when that happens, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of expectations, there's a lot of responsibility. So I feel like if I fail, um, I'm letting everybody down. And when I let everybody down, how am I supposed to help people if I cannot help myself? I don't know if you get it. Like, I can only help you win at something after I have won at it, because then I know how to win. But if I've never won anything, I'm like, oh, I'm going to help you win. You're not going to believe me. You're not going to listen to me. You're not going to need my input. Then again, it comes back to the people pleasing, but this is not a therapy session. But again, with the failure, I realized the reason why I was very much afraid of failing was because of how it impacts everybody around me. So I decided I'm going to embark on something where when I'm going to do something, sometimes I'm going to try to remove um, the benefits that everybody else is going to get should I win from whatever I'm doing. So if I'm, let's say, starting a new job, and some of the benefits are that maybe like I'll be able to give XYZ, I'll be able to give this person this, or I'll be able to give this person that, or I'll be able to do this for this person or that for that person. I have to remove everybody, and I'm going to be selfish about it that if I do all of this, I'm the only one going to benefit. So if I feel like this, I'm the only one that's going to affect. It's easier said than done, but it's something I'm going to try to do. And I have been praying as well about this. I mean, today I had an entire hour fighting with God. Can you imagine? It's like, really? How can you fight with God? Yeah, I had an entire conversation with God, and we're just fighting because I'm like, I don't get it. You promised that certain things are gonna happen, and they're not happening the way you said they were gonna happen, or at least the way I thought were gonna happen. You promised that your word said this, and this, and that is not happening right now. So why am I being punished? If I'm being punished, why am I being punished? What did I do wrong to warrant this punishment? Like, I was upset with God, mourning. My soul was literally mourning, and I was upset about how things were not going the way I wanted them to. I outcried myself, and I didn't know what else to do, because I mean, you can only fight with God for so long, right? So I just decided, you know what, forget it, and I just kept quiet and just lay down and just kept crying. I just kept crying and kept crying, and then after I was just done crying and I couldn't cry anymore, took a shower, did my makeup, and sat down, and I won't say I'm all the way there, but I'm okay. The crisis is over, so I'm happy for that. It's really hard. It's on some days it feels as though it's a never-ending, night for me. Because, and most of the time, I'm not very good at vocalizing what I need, or telling people that I am in pain or that I'm in trouble. I just chill and I keep everything under the surface and try to deal with it as much as possible. And so sometimes it gets so overwhelming, and I only have a few people that I can be very vulnerable with, and even with them, lately, I have found myself kind of detaching, because I felt like my relationship with those people have become very codependent, where I always need them to fix me. I always need them to fix something that I'm dealing with, and I don't like feeling like I'm something that is broken that needs to be fixed all the time. So I have been keeping them away when I'm dealing with stuff now, because I want to deal with it on my own, as opposed to running to them at every sign of trouble, and trying to learn how to self-soothe and learn better mechanisms of like better coping mechanisms. So that has been very, very challenging, but we're hanging in there and we're hoping things are gonna get better. Now back to this whole topic of failing. Dealing with this has made me realize that I'm not afraid of failing per se, but just because of what the failure represents, and what it represents to everybody around me and how it impacts everybody around me. Because it's just inbuilt in me to always be a good example. And lately, that I've been really struggling, it's been extremely hard. For example, do I want to do this? Let's use work for example. There are days when I'm having a crisis. Quite recently, I actually had a crisis at work. I was trying to be very positive and very, just trying to power through it, and I couldn't. I would take moments from my desk and I would just go to the washroom and just cry, and come back and try to power through my day. But the pain was excruciating. So that has been something that I have been dealing with. I don't know what I had in mind coming into this video, or how I was even gonna close house or anything, but I just wanted to come in here and share this with you guys. So if you're watching me also going through something similar, let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know how you deal with your crisis or whatever you're dealing with, and some coping mechanisms that have been very helpful to you. You never know, it could be helpful to me, it could be helpful to anybody else watching. Yeah. Anyway guys, I'll see you guys in my next video. As always, Nia Tresses, hope you are safe and you